everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Red Couch Talks. Today, we have the pleasure of having Paul Argueta with REH Real Estate. Thank you very much for joining us. So, Paul, do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, what it is that you do?
So, my name is Paul Argueta. I'm over in the city of Pasadena. I'm raising my family with my wife in San Marino. And I own a real estate company with my partner, Robert. It's called REH Real Estate.
And how did you choose to get into the real estate industry?
So I don't really tell people that I chose to get into real estate. I kind of feel like real estate chose me, if you will.
Okay.
Both my parents were quasi flippers in the late 70s, early 80s. Mm-hmm. I saw them. I saw them go through the ups and downs of the 80s and in the 90s, and it seemed like they were having a good time. My uncle, who happened to be my business partner, was pretty successful at it, and at that time he was kind of like the patriarch of the family. He was the most successful person in the family, and he was a real estate broker.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
Follow the steps of success.
Yeah.
So since opening your office around 2010, we see that there has been a lot of growth in your business. How did you do it, and how do you maintain your business to the level that it is now?
That's a great question. So you have to be prepared for the reality that you're going to have to adapt. Okay, the one constant in real estate is that there really is no constant. It's cyclical. The market goes up, the market goes down, technology shifts, and our industry shifts. So as a real estate practitioner, it's very, very important that we all learn how to adapt to the market, and we change our business models for the market. So that's probably the best way to maintain that level. Yeah.
Okay. What advice or tips do you think are important for entrepreneurs to learn and be successful business owners as yourself?
Great. So I have a rule where I say you never let the highs get you too high or the lows get you too low.
Yeah.
It's really easy to let your ego get the best of you when things are really, really good.
Yes.
And you make poor decisions.
Yeah, we do see that a lot.
It's really easy to when you're in the valley, to think that it's always going to be like that, and when the lows are there, that's when I also see a lot of people who start to question our profession, question our industry, and that's when we lose a lot of good people because they're in that low point. It does help to have people like you guys as mentors. If you guys are near the West Covina area and you're around here, you guys, this is a phenomenal team to work with. You have great leadership here, and that makes a huge, huge difference, especially if you're just getting into the profession. You want to find good mentors and people that can teach you what it takes to be successful in our industry.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
Really appreciate it.
You heard it from Paul.
Yes, absolutely.
And if not them, then you can come here.
Call
A
us
little bit of a
first.
trial.
Try us first, and then Paul might give you his address.
Okay, well, looking back at your business, and what are the main obstacles that you had to overcome to be as successful as you are today?
I think the biggest obstacle was really what was going on in my head, and the conversation that I had in my head, and thinking that everything was going to be perfect, and thinking that there was going to be the right time to start something, and the truth is there never really is the right time. It's never going to be convenient.
Right.
And so I had to learn how to control the inner dialogue that I had in my own head. And so for a lot of new people, you're going to have to learn how to discipline yourself and distance yourself from prior failures, and just understand that those failures don't define you, and they aren't who you are.
Exactly. Right. So true.
Thank you so much for sharing that. What financial burdens did you face? Did the market crash affect your business at all?
Yeah, so the market crash of 2007 actually skyrocketed my business.
Oh.
That's right.
Yeah. So right around 2005 is when I started going to a bunch of these REO conferences, and I joined REO Mac and NRBA and a few other what would you call them, trade groups within our profession. So that's another important tip, is that if you want to specialize in a particular niche, right, you really want to start going to those trade group meetings, those trade group dinners, those conferences, whatever it might be. you need to invest in yourself. So I started going to these conferences. I started learning about REOs and foreclosures, and I started making good relationships with a lot of lenders and a lot of banks. And we had really, that's actually how Alex and I met, was right around 2007, 2008. And I remember one of the first months in 2007 when me and my assistant Josh, who you were talking about earlier.
Josh. Hey, Josh.
There was one. He's now a licensed agent who does very well. We opened one escrow a day 1 month, so we had about 30 escrows.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was pretty.
That's really nice.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. It was a pretty crazy time.
Good old days.
I don't know if we'll ever see a time like that again, but then the market shifted, and I had to adapt all over again, and I had to go back to doing what we're doing now, which is the prospecting and
Back to basics.
Yeah, and the basic stuff that you need to do as a real estate agent.
Yeah.
And video and all that too, right?
Yeah, so video's a huge part, you guys. Since we're talking about marketing yourself as agents, you're really gonna have to learn how to implement the videos, doing things like this, collaborating with your peers. It's important that you do that, but I'm a big Gary V
Yes.
believer
Yeah.
and zealot, if you will. So document the journey. A lot of people want to see that. A lot of people want to see what it was like. If you're going to real estate school, start filming. Hey, I'm going to real estate school today. I'm about to get my license. I'm working my way up, and people can relate with that climb, I think, more than they can with like being on top. People can't relate
Yes.
with being on top more than they can relate with the climb. So for those of you that are watching this, make sure that you're implementing some type of a video strategy into what you do. You need it. We all do. Okay, I'm not above it either. We all need it.
You have to learn that. Yes. Thank you for sharing. Can you give us a rundown on a day of Paul Argueta from the moment you wake up to the minute that your day ends?
Okay.
Yes.
So that's a good one. So my wife gets up at 4 a.m. and for those of you that don't know, my wife competes. So she is. We have 5 children. Yes, they're all ours. And she competes in WBFF. Forgive me, babe, if I'm mispronouncing the organization, the acronym. But anyway, so she's up at 4. She kicks me out of bed. By 4:30, we're at the coffee table having our morning conversation, trying to eat something. By 5 o'clock, we're at the gym. She lifts, I lift, I give her a high five. She goes her way, I go my way. Her workouts are too intense for me anyway. So anyway, then we meet back up around 7. We go home. I get the kids ready. She manages a household for me with 5 children. That's a full-time
Yes,
profession.
yes,
and
it
and
is.
my children are very active. We have kids who are in basketball, gymnastics, what have you. And so she allows me the luxury of being able to do what it is that I do. So I wouldn't be able to do it without her. We have a great partnership. So I go take the kids to school, then I run into the office, and then I do some prospecting. To this day, I will still do prospecting. And then I monitor stuff. I'm a really big proponent of SEO and internet. So I'll check like the Google Analytics. I take a look at that. I take a look at my videos. I take a look at what my audience is doing, what my audience is clicking on. And then lunch. Lunchtime for me is usually around 11 because I'm up
wake
at
up so
4.
early?
Yeah. So
I gonna say 10.
yeah, actually, sometimes 10:30. Just depends how hungry I get. But by 11 o'clock, I'm usually like passing out, and then get back, and then we do stuff at the office. Where we'll either have like role-playing sessions or we review contracts, and then following up for about an hour or so. I think that's another thing that's really, really, really important because the younger version of me was really good at getting business. I could get, or at least getting leads, excuse me. I could get leads all day long, but if you're not following up on your leads, it's really, I think I checked it, and in the last couple years, I must have lost out on like $2 million in commissions by not following up as aggressive as I should.
That's a lot of it.
Yeah. Well, and I'm speaking like because of a team, so don't.
Yes,
don't.
yeah.
Anyway, so the point is that like Follow-up, you guys. As agents, you really have to work on your follow-up. So I spend at least an hour and a half to 2 hours of that, and then I'm home by about 6:30. And then it's off to the races again, taking the kids to their activities with my wife. We split up.
Yeah.
Wow. You don't get to bed till like what, 1 in the morning?
No, I wish. So they're in bed by 9. We're in bed by about 9:30. We get about an hour of TV. That's like,
Discipline.
one last tip is don't watch anything too crazy. It's not good idea to be watching Narcos at the last like, before you go to sleep. Like, yeah, because my dreams end up being like really, really crazy and chaotic. So
No la reina del sur.
Queen of the South, man.
my suggestion is something light and funny before you go to bed. Like, otherwise, I have some pretty wild dreams, and then the next morning we'll do it all over again.
Yeah.
So that's it. Yeah, I mean, it's not as interesting, I think. That,
No, it is
Yeah.
actually.
yeah.
Well, one of the reasons why I really admire and I like you so much is that I do remember like back like 2007 2006 or 7, we actually had that one transaction, and that's where we met, and it was an REO account, and you were just up and honest with me, and I really appreciated that. My client did get the house and everything, and then a couple of months later, Paul called me up like, hey, you want to do an REO listing? And I think it was in Marietta.
Yeah.
So, I said, hey, let's do it. So, that kind of showed me a lot about your character. And I noticed you praise others in the industry, and you've always, you've always been like a humble person. So my question is, how do you maintain your humility while still staying confident, not really worrying about the competition, just like I was telling them earlier, when I went to you, I said, hey, I want to get an REO account. You said, okay, here, do this. And he just like gave me everything, gave me names, contacts, and and not a lot of people would do that. So I really appreciate that. So, I mean, where does that come from? How do, like,
Yeah, 'cause you're very approachable.
Yeah.
And so willing to help others.
Yeah, it's like your willingness to help others, even though we're in the same industry. It says a lot about this. I want to.
Okay. So I think part of that, and this is, I'm not going to get too religious on anybody, but so I was raised in the Mormon faith, which is kind of, and during the 80s, being a Latin kid as a Mormon kid was a little strange.
Yeah.
And I just remember my mother and father were always working, like just always working, trying to support the family. And any activities that I went to were typically like activities that the church would sponsor and take care of. And so I always, I was in an environment where they were always giving and giving and giving and giving to me. And so I think, I mean, if I had to be honest, aside from the fact that I had really, really good parents, I think that taught me that like you could get away with that. Like you could give and not expect anything back in return, and it would pay you back.
Wow, that's
So,
good.
yeah, I think that's the long and the short end. Aside from the fact that I also, prior to us filming this video, we were talking about how like I see our peers, we're stronger when we collaborate versus when we're constantly chopping each other down.
Right.
That's another huge thing. I think there's too many haters out there anyway.
Yes.
And so when you meet those people that do want to help you and that do want to support you, it's refreshing.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
So keep those people in your life. Keep them as friends, keep them as colleagues, keep them as peers. That doesn't mean that they're not going to make mistakes. That doesn't mean that we're not going to do stupid things, because we all do.
We all do.
We all make mistakes. We've all done
We got to
stuff.
learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, with our relationships, with our business relationships, that sometimes we wish we could take back. But I think if we just come to someone and we apologize and we just say, look, hey, maybe I didn't handle it so well, but you're somebody that I still want in my circle. We can all relate with that.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, and one of the things that always resonates with me is the story you told us of world.
You want to make me cry in front of the cameras.
I mean, that story was so like it hit me like so hard that I still remember that story. Like I'm getting teary right now.
I know.
But it was a story that we've all been through it in this business. If you've been in real estate for as much time as you've been, it doesn't matter if it's 10 years, 20 years. I think we all get that little dip, that little drop where we're like, what are we gonna do? What's
Yeah,
what
it
next?
happens.
What happened? You know, when's that?
We're in
next
between commission checks.
Yeah,
we're in
when-
between escrows.
Yeah. So, and I know you told us the story about. So, can you kind of, you know?
Yeah, so
Benefits.
it must have been, let's see, at that time there were, we had 4. Our 5th child, Maverick, wasn't born yet. That was, I finally had made enough money to where we could go on a family vacation, and we wanted to go to Disney World. And see, these days, this new generation, they can Venmo each other money. They can send money electronically, right? Back then, we didn't. And even back then, I wasn't as good at carrying cash. And so we went, we barely had enough money to go on a Disney World vacation, just that. And I had prepaid for our meals. So at least I knew that the meals were covered, the airfare was covered, everything was covered, right? I didn't really have any true extra money other than that being taken care of. And we went on the plane, and this is before, you know, you could use credit cards to pay for your meals, right? They only took cash back then. I don't even know how they did it with change, but we were there, and my kids were hungry during the flight, and they wanted food, and I didn't have any cash. I just didn't have it. And so the stewardess saw the situation I was in, and to save me from any embarrassment, she gave my kids their meals, and they ate. But after we got off the plane, she said, I have to follow you to an ATM. And so I went to an ATM, and I overdrew my account, and I pulled out the money, and I gave it to her. And I swore that I would never, ever let that happen again.
Wow.
That was,
I'm not gonna cry.
we're all feeling it. We're all feeling it.
So anyway, that was.
Yeah.
So this new generation, you guys don't have to go through that because you can Venmo each other.
Yeah.
But you know.
But they'll never understand.
Yeah, they
They
won't.
won't, they'll never.
They'll never understand. But you know,
Well, and I think we've all been in that situation,
Yeah.
at least sometime in our lives.
Once, yeah, at
Thanks
least
for
once
sharing.
in our-
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I know it's kind of, you know, hits you know, a spot, but you know, I wanted people to know that because, again, you know, I want them to know like the real you, how you are. So now, what can we expect from Paul Argueta in the future? What are your major goals for your company? And you know, if they wanted to reach out to you, where can they reach out to you?
Great. Okay, so really, I want to continue to grow our company, just like you guys. Right now, we're at about 150 agents.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, it's not bad. But ideally, my long-term vision and my long-term goal is for us to get right around 1,500, 2,008. That's what I'd like to do. I want to
Which you always like.
yeah, I mean, so if you ask me how that's going to happen, that, you know, these are my wild and outrageous goals, right? So that's where I'd like us to be. And what I've been laying the foundation for over the last few years, and as agents, you're going to hear me repeating this, is you really, as agents, you have to work on your online branding and your online marketing. Because the truth is the consumer these days goes to the internet anyway, and that's where they're looking for us. And if you don't have an online presence, you will have challenges trying to build your business. Okay, even if you do have a relationship with someone, when they go online and research you, which they all do because we all do it now, and they don't see that you have a presence, that is going to impact their decision, right? So for the last 3 to 5 years, I've really been harping on this and teaching everyone in our organization, build your presence, build your presence, build your presence. And it goes beyond just reviews, because reviews is one thing, but like you know, you really want to have a presence to where if somebody looks up, say, Pasadena real estate agent, or who is the best real estate agent in Pasadena. These are all things that people are doing, and you need to they research it, but now they're researching it in the form of questions, right?
Yes.
So and now there's voice search with Alexa. My message is that you really have to be prepared for all this stuff, and if you're not, you know, you either adapt or you die. So I've been laying the foundation for this, and that is why when you ask me how are you going to get there, I ultimately see all the work that I've been doing in the last 3 to 5 years finally paying off, you know, where people will be able to discover us, people will be able to find us, not only in my little market, but hopefully nationwide. You know, so that's the goal. And you know, I have a daughter who wants to get into the Olympics.
Oh, good.
And so I want to make sure that we do what we can to get her there as well. And for all my 5 children, don't think I didn't forget any of you. I know that you all have wild and outrageous goals, and eventually we'll share those goals as well. You know, there was one thing that I tell my children every night. It was this: you're going to change the world.
Wow, that's nice.
And it's not me just saying it. You know,
Yeah.
it sounds facetious, and somebody could say, "Oh, you just say that to all your kids." But the truth is, I believe that. I don't know how, but I'm sure that they're going to do something that'll have an impact.
That's good.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, that's interesting. Good.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna say it. It's not copyrighted.
I didn't trademark it yet.
Wait till they. Yeah. So if they wanted to reach out to you, if they have any questions for you, I mean, where can they reach you at?
Yeah. Okay. So you can visit our website. Is that okay if I share it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So our company website is REH and then realestate.com. REHrealestate.com. We use Messenger so that you can always get a hold of us through Facebook Messenger. You can also message me directly. I go by the moniker Talk to Paul. So if you look up talktopaul.com, whatever it might be, if you Google that, you'll find me.
Okay.
Yeah. I spelled that.
Very good. I was gonna
That one
say,
is
that's
that one is
familiar.
taken and trademarked. That one.
Yeah, I ended up having to really use the number 2 because
Oh, because somebody had it already.
yeah. The TO was taken, so I was like, yeah, that sounds good. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. Paul, we appreciate you being here and sharing a lot of valuable information that I'm sure our consumers are going to be appreciative to, not just our consumers, but people in the industry. So thank you very much. We really
No, thank you
appreciate
guys.
it.
I appreciate being here. All you had to do was ask me once, and you knew I was going to show up. So
Yeah, that is great. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time here. And for any agents out there looking for a new office, please give us a call or comment below. We would love to talk to you. Or any buyers or sellers out there looking to buy or sell, please give us a call. Alex, what is the number?
The number is 1-800-286-1036, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for our weekly drawings of this episode and all future episodes of Red Couch Talk.
Thank you, and we look forward to having you join us next week here at RE/MAX Champions, downtown West Covina.
Woo!